And just, it seems like every time you go on social media right now, Tim, there's something new. There's some level of, I have no other word but ignorance it puts you on your heels. You threw one at me to start the show with Steve Elkington. I'm like, that's the craziest thing I'm going to hear today. Nope. Something else is going on. So we'll let you know what's going
on. So this is, as we're finishing the conversation about Michael Sam, he sends out a tweet about Jack Berkman. For those who hadn't heard, a lobbyist in Washington, or at least one that had a microphone in front of his face, said that he is drafting legislation to ban gay athletes from playing in the NFL. Now, he's a lobbyist.
He's an idiot. That's what he is.
So it's not as if he can get it done, but lobbyists represent interests from some people. To which Michael Sam tweeted, Jack Berkman is going to need a DeLorean, not some bogus bill, if he wants to prevent gay athletes from being in the locker room.
All right, so that's how that happened. I have nothing to say really, Tim, on that one.
I wish
that one has left me speechless.
If we didn't have Jonesy and so little time with him, I would read some of the quotes, but we don't have a ton of time.
This guy's almost not worth our time. I got to be honest.
But there is honest. All right. There are people out there who he is representing.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that.
Right.
But I think we're above him. Although we should throw this out there because it's going to be a big story too. Anyway, I'm going every which way on this. The Raptors are in Cleveland tonight, and Paul Jones is on the line. Jonesy,
guys, can I weigh in on that, because it's 50 years since I'm kind of reliving things, but it's 50 years today since Ali fought Liston, or Clay fought Liston. And shocked the world, that fight in Miami Beach. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to, I think I'm back in the 60s because I'm listening to that lobbyist. Is lobbyist like translation for fool? Is that?
Lobbyist is translation for a face that ignorant rich people need to throw out there because they're not going to be in front. They're not going to be in front of the media like that. Right.
So,
that's what that is.
He changed his stance later in life. We do have a second coming of George Wallace, governor of Alabama, that stood on the steps at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa to refuse black students entry. The guy who said in his inauguration speech as the governor, I say segregation now, segregation in the future, segregation forever. Like these myopic. Anyway, you know what? Don't get me started. So we got another guy like that.
I'm glad that you walked down that, because a pair of white guys sitting in the studio bringing up the words Jackie Robinson means nothing. But when
Tim, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. I know we want to talk about Raptors, but this is a historic day, and I remember being like a 5-6-year-old, and my dad and his buddies listening. I can't wait to get home to talk to. It kind of slipped my mind. I can't wait to get home to talk to my pops about it, who is still in my presence at 88 and soon to be 89 years old. And he and his buddies, and I can see them like it was yesterday. And a lot, all of them are gone except for him, the guys that he listened to the fight with. I can remember his buddies, Big Daddy Alan Gray and Harold Brown, and all of them around the radio and watching them listening to the radio and the fight. And kind of the first thought was, hey, something's different about this. And being educated through it now, I look back, and that was my first sense of them, somebody standing up for them living through people that stood up for what was right. And it's kind of like we've gone full circle here with this whole Michael Sam thing. Yeah. Like, Jason Collins, like, hey, if the guy can play, it's not illegal. You have your, line in the sand where it falls morally or religiously or whatever, but it's not hurting anybody. So where are you going with that? Like, it just, those kinds of things. And I guess I was raised around tolerance, being a minority, a visible minority. I was raised around tolerance and accepting and trying to get ahead by working with people. Doesn't matter what color, race, religion, creed, language, national, whatever. Cut them open. Is the blood red? Good. Then we're good. All right? And it bothers me to hear that kind of stuff. It really does. And I listened to the podcast last night when we got into Cleveland here on ESPN, had about the N-word and the NFL trying to throw a penalty, with that. I mean, the word shouldn't be in the workplace, period. But it's okay to have the word Redskins out there to represent a team.
Very true.
Rage.
Very true.
Yeah.
Like, and an NBA player gets fined for calling a referee an effing FAG.
Right.
But if he called him an effing a-hole, that's okay? Like objectionable language. Well, you were, that was, so one's okay and the other one isn't?
Josie, people say the last one to me all the time. It's fun. I'm callous to it.
It is.
All right. You know what? I got to get off this because I'm getting all wound up.
No, but it's well said, and for some reason it's different coming out of your mouth than our mouths. Jonesy, we'll rep the Toronto Raptors as best we can, but we have plumb run out of time.
Okay.
Okay?
Sorry. But Jonesy, you nailed it, man. You nailed it.
Raptors Cleveland tonight. They got to hang on to Kyrie Irving, make shots, get a better start. How's that?
Perfect.
Bingo has been called.